In 1887, a company called Procter and Gamble spent $11,000 on newspaper advertising for a product called Ivory Soap. It was the first time in American history that a cleaning product had been marketed to households on a national scale. Before that year, most American families made their own soap, their own cleaning compounds, and their own stain removers from ingredients they already had in the house. Within 50 years, those skills had largely disappeared. Not because the homemade version stopped working, because the advertising convinced people they had stopped working. My name is Peter Harnish, and what you are about to see are 20 cleaning tricks that households used before the cleaning products industry existed that $8 spray bottles still cannot improve on. Number 12 was used in Victorian hospital wards before commercial disinfectants existed, and a study published in the journal Food Microbiology in 2000 confirmed it kills the same pathogens as most commercial kitchen sprays. Number 1 is the cleaning combination that professional conservators at the Smithsonian Institution use on irreplaceable artifacts made from 2 ingredients that cost under $3 total and have been in continuous use for over 2,000 years. Subscribe before we start, because the companies that sell you cleaning products have a financial interest in you not knowing what you are about to learn. Number 20. The salt scrub. Coarse salt is an abrasive. It is also mildly antimicrobial at the concentrations present on a surface scrubbed with it, and it costs under $2 per pound at any grocery store. The salt scrub was documented as a standard kitchen cleaning method in American household management guides from the 1850s through the 1920s. Mrs. Beeton's Book of Household Management, published in England in 1861 and one of the most widely distributed household guides of the 19th century, recommends coarse salt for scrubbing wooden cutting boards and kitchen tables, noting that it removes food residue and odor more effectively than soap on porous wood surfaces because it does not raise the grain the way water alone does. The reason it works on wood is the same reason it works on cast iron. Salt draws moisture out of the surface it contacts, which lifts the food residue with it without introducing the water that damages wood grain and removes cast iron seasoning. A cast iron pan scrubbed with coarse salt and a paper towel after cooking, then wiped with a thin layer of oil, is clean, seasoned, and ready for the next use. A cast iron pan scrubbed with dish soap is clean, but stripped of the polymerized oil layer that makes it non-stick, which then has to be rebuilt through repeated seasoning. A commercial cast iron cleaning product costs $8 to $12 per container. Coarse salt costs under $2 per pound and does the same job better. Number 19. The half lemon juice contains citric acid at a concentration of approximately 5 to 8%. Citric acid dissolves mineral deposits, removes rust stains, cuts through soap scum, and kills a range of surface bacteria by dropping the pH of the surface below the range that most pathogens can survive. The practice of using a cut lemon half directly on surfaces to be cleaned is documented in household management texts from the 18th century onward. The specific application of half a lemon dipped in salt, used to scrub copper and brass, appears in colonial American household records and in British household management guides, and is still recommended by professional metal restorers today because nothing developed since works better on those surfaces without risk of damage. The combination works because the citric acid dissolves the copper oxide that causes tarnish, and the salt provides the abrasion needed to lift it from the surface. The lemon rind provides a handle. The juice provides the chemistry. Nothing else is needed. A bottle of commercial copper cleaner costs $8 to $15. A lemon costs under $1. The professional restorers at major museum collections use the lemon because the chemistry is gentler on the metal than any commercial alternative, not because they cannot afford the commercial product. Number 18. The baking soda paste. Baking soda is a mild alkali with a pH of approximately 8.3. Most food residues are acidic, An alkali reacts with an acid to produce a neutral salt in water, which is what cleaning chemically means, neutralizing the substance you want to remove and making it soluble in water so it rinses away. This is the mechanism behind every alkaline commercial cleaner on the market. Barkeeper's Friend, Bon Ami, Ajax, Comet. All of them use alkaline compounds as their primary active ingredient. The difference between them and baking soda is primarily concentration, particle size, and the addition of surfactants to help the mixture spread across the surface. Baking soda paste, made by mixing baking soda with just enough water to form a thick consistency, applied to a surface and left for 5 minutes before scrubbing, removes baked-on food from oven interiors, grease from stovetop surfaces, soap scum from bathroom tiles, and stains from ceramic and porcelain sinks. A 500 green box of baking soda costs under $2. A commercial alkaline scouring powder costs $4 to $8 for the same weight. The mechanism is identical. Number 17. The white vinegar spray. White vinegar at 5% acidity has a pH of approximately 2.4. Most common household bacteria, including E. coli and Salmonella on kitchen surfaces, are killed by exposure to a pH below 4. White vinegar applied to a surface and left for 1 minute before wiping removes 82% of surface bacteria in independent laboratory testing, according to a study conducted at the Food Science Department of North Carolina State University in 2000. The practice of using vinegar as a household cleaner and disinfectant is documented in household management guides from the 18th century onward. The specific application of white vinegar diluted with water as a glass cleaner appears in American household guides from the 1890s, where it is recommended because it evaporates cleanly without leaving the residue that soap-based glass cleaners left on window glass. The residue-free evaporation is still why professional window cleaners use diluted vinegar or ammonia-based products rather than soap-based ones. The soap leaves a film. The acid does not. A gallon of white vinegar costs $3 to $4. A spray bottle of commercial all-purpose cleaner costs $4 to $8 for 32 ounces. The vinegar produces 128 ounces of full-strength cleaner from 1 gallon, or more than twice that if diluted 50-50 with water, as most household applications require. Number 16. The boiling water drain method. Commercial drain cleaners work by one of two chemical mechanisms. Lye-based cleaners use sodium hydroxide to saponify the fats and dissolve the hair that cause most household drain clogs. Acid-based cleaners use sulfuric acid to dissolve organic material. Both work. Both also degrade the pipe fittings they pass through over time, and both are caustic enough to cause serious burns on contact with skin. The method that prevents most household drain clogs from forming in the first place requires no chemicals and costs nothing beyond the water already being heated on the stove. A kettle of boiling water poured slowly down a kitchen or bathroom drain once per week dissolves the soap scum and grease that accumulate on pipe walls before they build up to the point of causing a clog. The heat melts the accumulated fats. The water volume flushes them through before they re-solidify further down the pipe. The practice is documented in plumbing trade guides from the early 20th century as standard preventive maintenance advice. A plumber quoted in a 1922 issue of Popular Mechanics recommended weekly boiling water treatment as the most effective single measure a homeowner could take to prevent drain service calls. A bottle of commercial drain cleaner costs $8 to $15. A kettle of boiling water costs the electricity or gas to heat it, which is a few cents. Number 15. The newspaper glass cleaner. Glass cleaned with a cloth or paper towel develops lint streaks. Glass cleaned with newspaper does not, because the compressed cellulose fibers in newsprint are too fine to leave the fiber deposits that woven or felted materials leave. The practice of using newspaper to clean glass is documented in American household management guides from the early 20th century and was standard practice in commercial window cleaning operations through the mid-20th century. A 1934 household tip column in the Chicago Tribune recommended newspaper for mirrors and windows specifically because it left no lint, noting that the printer's ink of the period had a mild polishing effect on glass surfaces. Modern newspaper ink formulations are different from 1934 inks, and the polishing effect is less pronounced, but the lint-free property of newsprint remains. A window or mirror cleaned with newspaper and a diluted white vinegar spray is cleaner than the same surface cleaned with a commercial glass cleaner and a microfiber cloth, because the microfiber cloth, however good, deposits some fiber. A commercial glass cleaner costs $4 to $6 per bottle. A diluted vinegar spray costs under $0.50 per bottle to make. The newspaper is free if you already have it. Number 14. The hydrogen peroxide mold treatment. Hydrogen peroxide at 3% concentration, the formulation sold in any pharmacy for $1 to $2 per bottle, kills mold on hard surfaces more effectively than bleach in most household applications, according to a comparative study published in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health in 2019. The reason it outperforms bleach on porous surfaces is penetration. Bleach is a surface disinfectant. It kills mold on the surface. It contacts but does not penetrate into porous materials like grout, wood, or drywall. Hydrogen peroxide, being a smaller molecule, penetrates more deeply into porous surfaces and addresses the mold growth below the surface, not just on it. The practice of using hydrogen peroxide as a household disinfectant and mold treatment predates the commercial products that replaced it in the mid-20th century. The first commercial hydrogen peroxide disinfectant products appeared in the 1860s, and household guides from the late 19th century through the early 20th century document it as standard practice for bathroom disinfection and surface mold treatment. Undiluted 3% hydrogen peroxide sprayed on a molded surface and left for 10 minutes before scrubbing removes common household mold species from bathroom grout, around sink fixtures, and on window frames. A commercial mold spray costs $8 to $15. A bottle of 3% hydrogen peroxide costs $1 to $2. Number 13. The cream of tartar stain. Remover cream of tartar is potassium bitartrate, a byproduct of wine fermentation that has been available as a kitchen ingredient since antiquity. It is mildly acidic, which makes it effective at dissolving the mineral stains and metallic oxidation deposits that resist alkaline cleaners and abrasives. The specific application of cream of tartar mixed with hydrogen peroxide as a paste for removing rust stains from fabric and ceramic surfaces appears in American household guides from the late 19th century and was a standard recommendation in household management columns through the mid-20th century. The paste is made by combining cream of tartar with enough hydrogen peroxide to form a thick consistency, applying it to the stained area, leaving it in sunlight for 1 to 2 hours, and then rinsing. The citric mechanism of the cream of tartar dissolves the iron oxide of the rust stain, and the oxidizing action of the hydrogen peroxide breaks the chemical bond between the stain and the fabric or surface. A commercial rust stain remover costs $6 to $12. Cream of tartar costs $3 to $5 per container. Hydrogen peroxide costs $1 to $2 per bottle, and the combination removes rust stains that commercial rust removers fail on because they use the same chemistry at lower concentrations. Number 12. The salt and vinegar disinfectant. In the hospitals and sick rooms of Victorian England, before commercial disinfectants existed and before germ theory had fully replaced miasma theory as the medical consensus, the standard room disinfection method was a combination of salt and vinegar, applied to surfaces and used to wash floors and walls. Florence Nightingale's Notes on Nursing, published in 1859, recommends vinegar as a cleaning agent for sick room surfaces and notes that rooms cleaned with vinegar had lower rates of secondary infection than those cleaned with soap and water alone. She did not know why. The research that would explain it was being conducted by Louis Pasteur in France at the same time she was writing. The combination of salt and vinegar works as a disinfectant because the acetic acid of the vinegar drops surface pH below the survivable range for most pathogens, and the salt creates a high osmolarity environment on the surface that draws water out of bacterial cells through osmosis, killing them through dehydration. A study published in the journal Food Microbiology in 2000 confirmed that a salt and acetic acid solution of the concentrations present in a standard salt and vinegar cleaning mixture kills E. coli, salmonella, and listeria on food contact surfaces within 1 minute of contact. Florence Nightingale was right. She just did not have the microbiology to explain why. Number 11. The club soda stain. Lift club soda removes fresh stains from fabric and carpet more effectively than cold water alone because the carbonation provides a gentle mechanical lift to the stain particles. The bubbles of CO2 get under the stain residue and push it upward from the fiber rather than simply diluting it on the surface. The practice of using carbonated water to treat fresh stains is documented in household management guides from the early 20th century, when club soda and sparkling mineral water were common household beverages and their stain-removing properties were a standard piece of household knowledge. The method works best on fresh stains, applied within the first few minutes of the spill before the stain material has had time to bond to the fabric fibers. Pour club soda directly onto the stain, allow it to fizz for 30 seconds, then blot firmly with a clean cloth. Do not rub. Rubbing spreads the stain and forces it deeper into the fiber. Blotting lifts it. A bottle of club soda costs under $1. A commercial carpet stain remover costs $5 to $12. The club soda works on fresh stains. The commercial remover sometimes works on set stains. The window for effective stain treatment in either case is the same: the first few minutes after the spill. Number 10. The cornstarch window. Polish cornstarch mixed with water to a thin slurry and applied to glass surfaces, then polished with a dry cloth when nearly dry, leaves glass cleaner and less prone to static attracting dust buildup than any commercial glass cleaner tested in independent consumer comparisons. The method appears in American household management guides from the early 20th century as a window polishing technique, distinct from cleaning for glass that was already clean but had developed the hazy, dust-attracting film that forms on glass over time. The cornstarch particles fill microscopic surface irregularities in the glass, reducing the surface area available for dust adhesion. The same principle is used in modern anti-static glass coatings, which are applied to television screens, computer monitors, and display cases to reduce dust adhesion. The commercial versions use silica particles rather than cornstarch because silica is more durable, but the mechanism is identical. A box of cornstarch costs under $2 and lasts for years at the quantities needed for glass polishing. A commercial glass polish costs $8 to $15 for a small bottle. Number 9. The potato rust remover. Raw potato contains oxalic acid in its flesh. Oxalic acid dissolves iron oxide, which is what rust is. A cut potato rubbed on a rusted surface, particularly a rusted knife, a rusted cast iron pan, or a rusted garden tool, will remove light surface rust through a chemical reaction that costs nothing and leaves no toxic residue. The practice is documented in household management guides from the 19th century, where it appears in the context of kitchen knife maintenance. A knife stored damp would develop surface rust within days in a pre-stainless steel era. The cut potato face rubbed along the blade removed it without abrasion that would dull the edge and without chemicals that would contaminate food. The oxalic acid mechanism is the same one used in commercial rust removers like Wood's metal, which contain oxalic acid as their active ingredient at higher concentrations. The potato, delivers a lower concentration with more mechanical assistance from the starchy potato flesh, which acts as a mild abrasive alongside the acid. A commercial rust remover costs $8 to $15. A potato costs under $1 and removes light surface rust from kitchen tools more safely than any chemical product because it leaves no residue that requires rinsing before the tool contacts food. Number 8. The toothpaste silver polish. White toothpaste contains fine silica particles as its abrasive component. Those same particles that polish tooth enamel also polish silver, removing tarnish through gentle abrasion without the chemical compounds in commercial silver polishes that leave residue in the engraving and detail work of ornate silver pieces. The practice of using toothpaste to polish silver is documented in household tips columns from the mid-20th century, when commercial toothpaste had become a universal household product, but its applications beyond dental hygiene were still being discovered and shared through household management publications. Apply a small amount of white toothpaste, not gel, to the silver surface. Rub gently with a soft cloth in a circular motion. Rinse thoroughly with warm water and dry immediately. The tarnish comes off with the toothpaste, and the silver underneath is polished rather than etched. The limitation is that toothpaste is more abrasive than commercial silver polish formulated for the purpose, so it should not be used on silver-plated items or on pieces where the surface is already worn. For solid sterling silver in good condition, it removes tarnish as effectively as any commercial silver polish. A commercial silver polish costs $8 to $15. A tube of toothpaste costs $2 to $4 and has already been purchased for its primary purpose. Number 7. The chalk grease absorber. White chalk rubbed onto a grease stain on fabric before washing absorbs the oil from the stain, breaking the bond between the grease and the fabric fiber before the washing machine has to remove it. The practice is documented in clothing care guides from the early 20th century, when laundry was done by hand and pre-treatment of stains before washing was a standard part of the laundry process rather than an afterthought. The chalk absorbs the oil through the same mechanism as commercial stain pre-treaters that use talc or cornstarch as their active ingredient. The chalk is more finely porous than cornstarch and absorbs oil slightly faster, which is why it remained a recommended method in clothing care guides even after cornstarch became a widely known alternative. Apply the chalk to the grease stain immediately after it occurs. Rub it in firmly. Allow to sit for 10 minutes. Brush off the chalk and wash as normal. The stain that would have set permanently in the washing machine heat if untreated comes out completely. A commercial stain pre-treater costs $4 to $8. A piece of chalk costs under $1 and does the same job using the same mechanism at a fraction of the cost. Number 6. The onion window. Polished raw onion juice contains sulfuric compounds that react with the mineral deposits and oxidation films that form on glass over time, dissolving them from the surface. A cut onion face rubbed across a window glass that has developed a cloudy film from hard water deposits or oxidation leaves the glass clearer than any commercial window cleaner on the market. The practice is documented in household management guides from 19th century rural England, where it was recommended specifically for the glass of greenhouses and cold frames, which developed heavy mineral deposit films from repeated watering. The onion method removed those films without the abrasion that would scratch the glass. The chemistry is less well studied than some of the other methods on this list, but the sulfuric compounds in onion juice are known to react with metal oxides, and the mineral films on glass are primarily metal oxide compounds. The reaction dissolves the film without affecting the glass itself. The smell of onion on glass dissipates within 30 minutes of application. The clarity of the glass after treatment persists until new deposits form. A commercial hard water stain remover for glass costs $8 to $15. A yellow onion costs under $1. Number 5. The walnut wood scratch fixer. The oil in a raw walnut rubbed directly into a scratch on a wooden surface, fills the scratch and stains the raw wood of the scratch interior to match the surrounding finished surface. The effect lasts until the scratch is subjected to heavy cleaning or refinishing. The practice is documented in furniture care guides from the early 20th century and appears in household tips columns from the mid-century period. It was recommended specifically for minor scratches on dark wood furniture, where the tannins and oils in the walnut nut meat closely matched the color of the most common furniture wood finishes of the period. Break a walnut in half and rub the cut face of the nut meat directly into the scratch. The oils transfer to the wood surface and penetrate the raw wood fiber of the scratch. Allow to sit for 5 minutes, then buff with a soft cloth. The result is not invisible, but it is significantly less noticeable than the raw scratch. On dark wood furniture, it is often nearly invisible. A commercial furniture scratch repair marker costs $5 to $12 and works on a narrower range of wood tones than the walnut, which adjusts its tone as it oxidizes to match a wider range of wood finishes. The walnut costs under $1. Number 4. The borax and sugar ant bait. Borax, sodium tetraborate, is a mineral compound that kills ants through interference with their digestive system when ingested. A bait made from 1 teaspoon of borax mixed with 3 teaspoons of powdered sugar and enough water to form a thick liquid, placed in small amounts on a piece of card near ant trails, is carried back to the colony by worker ants who cannot distinguish it from food. The bait kills the colony rather than the individual ants the spray contacts. A commercial ant spray kills the ants it reaches on contact, but has no effect on the colony, which sends more workers the next day. The borax bait takes 2 to 3 days to work because it needs to be carried back and distributed through the colony, but when it works, it eliminates the colony rather than the visible workers. The practice of using borax-based baits for pest control is documented in agricultural extension service publications from the early 20th century, where it was recommended for ant control in kitchen gardens and pantries. The mechanism is identical to commercial ant baits like taro, which uses borax as its active ingredient at a concentration and dilution that matches the homemade formula closely. A bottle of commercial ant spray costs $6 to $12 and treats symptoms. A box of borax costs $5 to $7, makes dozens of batches of bait, and treats the source. Number 3. The Castile Soap All-Purpose Cleaner. Castile soap is a pure soap made from vegetable oil, most commonly olive oil, without the synthetic detergents, preservatives, fragrances, and surfactants that commercial cleaning products add to their formulations. It has been made in the Castile region of Spain since at least the 12th century and was the primary cleaning agent for household surfaces, laundry, and personal washing across most of Europe and the Americas until the synthetic detergent industry displaced it in the mid-20th century. Diluted Castile soap, 2 tablespoons per quart of water, cleans household surfaces as effectively as commercial all-purpose cleaners for standard soil and grease removal. It rinses completely without leaving residue, which commercial cleaners frequently do because their surfactant systems are designed for one-pass cleaning rather than thorough rinsing. Dr. Bronner's, the primary commercial Castile soap brand, sells their product at $16 to $18 per 32-ounce bottle. At the dilution recommended for all-purpose cleaning, 32 ounces of Castile soap produces over 2 gallons of cleaning solution. A commercial all-purpose cleaner provides 1 quart per bottle at the same price point. The Castile soap is 8 times more economical at equivalent cleaning strength, uses no synthetic chemicals, and has been in continuous use for over 800 years. Number 2. The Lye Soap before Procter and Gamble, before Lever Brothers. Before any of the companies that now sell you cleaning products in bottles with proprietary formulas existed, every household that wanted soap made it from 2 ingredients that were free: wood ash and animal fat. The lye leached from wood ash, combined with rendered fat in the correct proportion and cooked until saponification is complete, produces soap. It is the same chemical reaction that produces every bar of soap ever made, commercial or otherwise. The lye is the base, the fat is the acid, and the soap is the product of their neutralization. The practice of making lye soap from wood ash is documented in American household management guides from the colonial period through the late 19th century, in farm journals and household accounts from across the country, and in the WPA slave narratives from the 1930s, where multiple accounts describe soap making from ash and fat as a standard seasonal household task. The women who made this soap were not doing it because they were poor or because they had no alternative. They were doing it because it was the most effective cleaning agent available, made from materials the household produced as byproducts of cooking and heating. The family that rendered its own fat and burned its own wood had the raw materials for unlimited soap production at zero additional cost. The same family today pays $4 to $6 per bar for something chemically identical, made in an industrial facility from the same reaction. Number 1. The baking soda and vinegar combination. Every conservation laboratory that preserves irreplaceable artifacts uses pH-neutral or mildly acidic cleaning solutions on surfaces that cannot be damaged. The Smithsonian Institution, the British Museum, the Louvre. The reason is chemistry. An alkaline cleaner reacts with certain surface compounds. An acidic cleaner reacts with others. A neutral solution removes neither, which means it removes less. A slightly acidic solution removes mineral deposits and oxidation without attacking the underlying material. Baking soda is a mild alkali. White vinegar is a mild acid. Baking soda applied to a surface first, followed by white vinegar, produces a fizzing reaction that generates CO2 gas. That gas physically lifts debris from the surface as it forms. The resulting solution is nearly neutral because the acid and the alkali have partially neutralized each other. The fizzing provides the mechanical action that does the actual cleaning. The Smithsonian's Conservation Department does not use baking soda and vinegar on artifacts. They use formulated pH-controlled solutions that cost significantly more and are calibrated to specific surface types. But the principle, mild chemistry combined with mechanical action, is identical, and the household version has been documented in use across virtually every cleaning application a household encounters. The combination was recommended in American household management guides from the 1880s onward. It appears in the tips columns of every major American newspaper from the early 20th century. It has never been improved on for the applications it addresses: drain maintenance, surface cleaning, stain pre-treatment, bathroom tile, grout, and kitchen surfaces. Baking soda costs under $2 per box. White vinegar costs under $4 per gallon. The combination has been in continuous use for over 200 years. The $8 spray bottle has been in use for about 40. If your family cleaned with methods that belong on this list, put it in the comments. This archive is not finished.